All right, well, let's bring in Ted Williams, Fox News contributor. He's a former D.C. homicide detective. Ted, you just arrived onto the scene. You were looking around last night, and you have answers to what we've been asking all morning long. I want to know, based on everything you've seen, does Nancy Guthrie and the Guthrie family know the person who perpetrated this crime?
You know, I don't think that they directly know the person, but I do believe that there was some things that happened yesterday that highlights what's going on in this investigation. And when I say that, guys, I'm speaking specifically of the automobile. That automobile was in that garage, and that automobile had not been processed. And if we step back a little bit, we know that early on, a second note was sent as a result of the siblings putting out a proof of life request. And I can tell you, we're not dealing with dumb, ignorant people who don't realize that if they say something as it pertains to that proof of life, that they very well themselves may be able to expose themselves. So what they're doing is they're trying to see if they can give the authorities, I believe, in that second note, information that will let them know that they are really the perpetrators of this crime, but yet not give them anything along the lines of a proof of life.
You know, Ted, knowing you as well as I do, I've got to think that you are perplexed a little bit at what appears to be maybe some early missteps by the authorities. For early on, they open up the crime scene, then they close it down and go back in and search. And now we see things like they're taking this surveillance camera off the roof. Why didn't they get that earlier? Or what do you make of any of the sort of early missteps that they may have made?
You know, Griff, you and I have done investigations throughout this country. And one of the things that we've always seen, and unfortunately we're not seeing out here, and that is the preservation of the crime scene. I remember being out in Moscow, Idaho, where the four students were killed. And if you remember, that crime scene was preserved until they tore that building down probably about a year or so later. I would have expected in this case that they would have preserved the crime scene, that they would not have to go in and out of this crime scene. What they have done, unfortunately, and they need to realize it, is they've contaminated that crime scene by going in and out of that crime scene. They've had to do this at least on 3 different occasions. That is not law enforcement 101, preservation of the crime scene, Griff.
So I want to go back to the question about the automobile in the garage that they towed away, the blue Subaru. So do you think the significance of that is that there may be some proof of life, or you know, they're using it to confirm the second note or the first note, for that matter, some information in the note? Or do you think it's possible that we know that garage is the way Nancy returned home, that maybe the kidnapper or kidnappers gained entry to the home, like at the same time she opened the garage door, and may have held, stayed in that garage for some period of time, may have touched the vehicle, may have gotten into the vehicle or something like that? What is your speculation about the significance of that automobile?
Well, I believe in their second note that they didn't want to give any information directly about proof of life as requested by the siblings. So what they did was to be able to give the authorities some information about that car in that garage. Just think about it. For the last 4 or 5, 6 days, we didn't know that that car was actually in that garage. And that car should very well have been processed, and that car was not processed. So that is certainly something that they are taking into consideration. This was Keystone Cops. It should not have happened. They should have processed that car as part and parcel of that crime scene.
So even if the car was not mentioned in the second note or anything like that, you would have thought that the car would have been processed automatically on day one?
On day one, I think that car should have been processed. Griff, we also know that at 2:18, that they said, meaning the sheriff, that he saw a figure on the Ring doorbell that had been destroyed at about 1:14. And the sheriff then said something that just shocked my conscience, and that is that Nancy did not have a subscription, and that they could not find out who was on that video feed. And I think that's ridiculous. That is certainly something that may be true, but that is something that the public did not need to know. They need to make these people squirm a little bit. They need to make these people, whoever have Nancy, believe that they have something on them. And to give that information out, I just thought it should not have happened.
Before I let you go, really quickly, Ted, what do you make of the 46 minutes that these people were inside of her home? What happened? Why so long?
Excellent question. Excellent question. I think that these people got in there, that they knew the alarm system. Is somebody who knows that house. And I do believe that Nancy perhaps had to get dressed, and that they knew that this alarm system was not going to go off. And as a result of that, she was probably getting dressed, and they were probably getting ready to take her out. And if you notice at the door, there was some blood droppings. And I believe that very well could have been something from a high blood pressure from her nose. I don't think they did anything to her. But then they gave that crime scene up to the public, for the public to be able to trample through that crime scene. That is not the way you conduct investigations.
Yeah, and you know, Ted, to Rachel's point, what we have from the authorities, and all we have are the facts they give us, is that timeline, 1:47 a.m. That's when the Ring camera is disabled. 2:28, we know that her pacemaker has been disconnected, and that's 41 minutes. And the questions are, what were they doing inside, and what transpired while they were inside with Nancy Guthrie? Ted Williams, it is great to have you on the ground there. We look forward to getting more information throughout the morning. Thank you, Ted.
Great stuff, Ted.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.